In honor of the Super Mario Bros. Galaxy movie coming out soon, I wanted to talk about a different kind of brotherly connection that we have. Yeah, that's right. We're heading over to the Montreal Canadiens, and we are focusing our sights on Arber Xhekaj, who, for the first time in forever, had himself an NHL game played. Finally! The guy was out for 2 weeks, just chilling, not doing too much, not playing too much, and he finally comes back for the Montreal Canadiens in yesterday's 3-1 win over the Hurricanes. Now, there are some notable elements to Xhekaj and the way that he played yesterday. There are also conversations that we can have that have resulted from yesterday's results. Yeah, that's right. It's a double, triple result on a result, baby. Let's talk today about Arber Xhekaj because he only played 5 minutes against the Hurricanes. And the funny part is, he didn't even play on D. Arber Xhekaj was used as a winger. And with this in mind, we do have ourselves some other conversations as to what this experiment can look like long-term and into the future. Here's a post made by Lazy Cranberry 3565 on the Habs subreddit. How did Arber Xhekaj do at wing today? I didn't get to watch the game. Thank you for any insight you can provide. 5 minutes, 5 hits. Hey, that's not bad. If you have Arber Xhekaj in a Bangers Fantasy Hockey League, you can go out there and get this guy. He gives you a hit per minute. That's pretty good if I do say so myself. It could be worse. Other guys like Troy Terry literally haven't registered a body check all season. Relatively ineffective Xhekaj was, but I don't really blame him. First game in weeks, in a strange position, against a top team in the conference. They also used him on D for a couple of shifts from what I was hearing. That's gotta be even more harrying. He played 5 minutes, had a couple of hits. Otherwise, though, he was invincible. They moved Desnoyers up to play with Evans and Bolduc, so that line had no center. So any zone starts they had a center on who would try to scoot off for Arber to jump on. I think he was the only healthy body on the road trip, and doing this messed with the D pairings less than if we had went 7 with 11. Don't expect this to be a long-term change. Now, even though this is a very rational take by Icarite Minor, do not expect Arber Xhekaj at wing to be a long-term thing. Well, this commenter says, I think he actually has potential as a fourth-line energy player who can forecheck hard and screen the goalie. I think that Arber, Veleno, and Josh Anderson could be a tough fourth line to play against in this year's playoffs. He could also be used on the PK as a D. I think he needs to improve his agility on skates and maybe shed 10 pounds, adjust his off-season training to be a bit more explosive and agile, but I could see him being an impactful fourth-line grinder with Beck and Florian Xhekaj 2 years from now. If that is the decision they make for his career. Wasn't Markov drafted as a forward initially? Crazier things have happened. I am desperate for the Montreal Canadiens to find a way to keep Arber Xhekaj. The radio broadcasters talk regularly about how he is the heart and soul of the locker room, lifting spirits when the guys are down and keeping them all focused and friendly. If he is traded or walks, he'd be a bigger loss than the score sheet suggests. And this is not new info. The idea that the sheriff Arber Xhekaj is not just policing the game on the ice for the Canadiens against other teams, but he's also policing the vibes in the room, just keeping things focused, steady. There's a lot of energy that Xhekaj brings that seems to be a positive element for the Canadiens and the guys on the team. And a part of me does wonder if Arber Xhekaj becomes a winger full-time. Not saying it's going to happen, but if he does go down that path, what kind of a role could he have consistently? Here's a fun hypothetical for you, posted by Joni Villi on the Habs sub. If the Xhekaj bros were to play together on a forward line, which Habs player would you see as a center? Look at these two swell guys, Xhekaj squared. It's Flo, it's Arber. If I am not mistaken, Florian Xhekaj was able to come in and score a goal, was he not? Arber has 1 goal, 1 assist in 2 games played this season. Florian is at... no, he did not score a goal in the National Hockey League for Montreal. Okay, my bad. 1 assist in 5 games played. But then again, thinking about it like, hey, this guy was drafted out of the 4th round 3 years ago. The fact that he even played an NHL game, that's pretty remarkable in and of itself. We'll see whether or not Florian has what it takes to stick around long term at the National Hockey League level. But if he and his brother were to play on the same forward line, who's the center that goes out there and brings it all together? Florian at center, with Arber and Josh Anderson on the wing. Exactly what this other user was thinking. That's a playoff line right there. Goodness gracious, man. You would have just 3 cinder block-like guys who are immovable, who don't take any BS, who would enforce the game physically against whomever it was. If Montreal finds themselves in a playoff series against a Bennett or a Marchand type in Florida, you would want Florian, Arber, and Anderson on the ice at the same time. Let's go out there and see some other options. Alexandre Texier. Okay, yeah, get the X's in there. D Generation X. Honestly, Jake Evans. Imagine it. Yeah, Evans would be just there to keep things tight defensively and let the Bash Bros do their thing. The smallest center. L.J. Mooney. Get Cole or Lane some bodyguards. Philippe Deneau could play there and make it work. He'd be great on the faceoffs and the third guy defensively while the Bash Bros pressure on hits and forechecks. I doubt they would get a ton of minutes, so Deneau could still get his on the PK and some faceoffs. Is that the right way to go about it, though? Would you willingly put together a 4th line and say, hey, we don't actually plan to use you guys for a lot of minutes. We're just going to run the top 3 lines over and over and over again. You'll get maybe every 4th or 5th shift in the defensive zone. I don't really know if that's the right way to think about it, but then again, having Arber and Florian is already seen as pretty much a dreamlike scenario for Canadiens fans that want to see some toughness in this lineup. It also would be a really interesting balance of priorities, would it not? Like, I'm thinking about the Canadiens and the fact that they have a number of guys that just happen to be smaller. Nick Suzuki ain't big. Cole Caulfield's one of the smallest players in the league. Lane Hudson slipped to the 2nd round because he's small. And now it's like, you've got size in Slavkovsky. You have the legacy in Josh Anderson. You've got these 2 guys in the system. Florian is 6'4", Arber 6'4", and if they're both able to play wing, potentially on the same line, you could be looking at like a discount Dollar Tree, Dollar General, no-name brand version of what Brady and Matthew were at Team USA at the Olympics and the 4 Nations, except with much less scoring ability and arguably even more bite. No matter whom it is centering that line, I actually think the idea of Xhekaj and Xhekaj is a pretty nice one. Have Alexandre Texier there if you want to get the triple X out there on the ice too. Oh man, I regret saying that. That was not the right way to say it. But with all that said, Arber Xhekaj, playing at the wing. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the way that went in yesterday's game against the Hurricanes? And where do you see this going long term? Is there a possibility that Arber gets more looks at wing, or does he just become a full-time defenseman again? Let me know in the comments your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.